Get ready for more cold nights, chilly days, and periods of sunshine with mostly dry conditions. Hey everyone, Darrell Winninger here, Chief Meteorologist at Central Oregon Daily News. And across the high desert today, we've had a whole lot of cloud cover. Temperatures did not go very far, and highs were close to average for this time of the year. Now, the next couple of days, a mixture of sunshine and clouds are expected. Some sprinkles in our highest elevations might come down into the lower elevations, but for the most part, we're going to be mostly dry, and by the latter part of this work week, we'll start to see a gradual and modest warming trend that could bring temperatures back into the 50s, well above average for this time of the year. So we're about to do a deep dive into your most reliable forecast. Look at what has been happening across the high desert, what's going to happen next, how those changes are really going to impact our plans as we go forward through the next several days, and when we're expecting more precipitation. Also, if that precipitation is going to be snow. Spoiler alert, it doesn't look good for mountain snow. But let's kick this off by looking across the high desert, that last little bit of light on this Monday, December the 1st. And we do see several of these cameras where there have been some in and out clouds, or really some clearing across the high desert. Now, we had a stunning view for our morning commute across Central Oregon, a spectacular sunrise. And as of right now, that sun is setting. It's already chilly. We've already had a whole lot of clearing. So by 7 o'clock, very little cloud cover across the Tri-County area of Central Oregon. And we are looking at some overnight in and out clouds. By Tuesday, 6 a.m., morning commute, dry and a gentle breeze. But also some in and out clouds are expected through Tuesday. We're going to call it partly cloudy. By Wednesday, starting off with some pockets of fog, more sunshine than cloud cover, and no precipitation in sight. But to get there, we have to really focus on what's happening right now. There was a wave of moisture pushing through the Pacific Northwest today, and what we're looking at right here is our enhanced infrared satellite imagery and those white lines of pressure. The reason it's enhanced is this isn't typically the color scheme you'll see in a lot of places. There's an enhancement that really shows where we have tall clouds. You'll see those brighter colors, the oranges, the reds. Where we have low clouds, from white to blue, then getting into the green. And over the high desert, the clouds we've had, those have been thinning out, but there's still a little bit more moisture off the Oregon coastline. Some of that could roll its way into Central Oregon. Still not looking at much in the way of precipitation. The mountains have just been absorbing most of the sprinkles and flurries that have been rolling through. Earlier today, there were a few light showers showing up on radar, but not a lot of that actually reached the ground. Now, looking at the bigger picture, there's a broad ridge of high pressure just off the west coastline, and that high pressure is what's building into the Pacific Northwest. Look just past that. A very strong low pressure system is working its way north into the Gulf of Alaska. This will be our next system, but it's going to hold off until Thursday. What happens is this ridge of high pressure pushes back, weakens it significantly, and then the actual low works its way into Canada. Now, with that kind of progression, you'd assume that the cold front works its way through the high desert, but it actually merges with another system that's going to develop during the next couple of days. And so we're not looking at an intense system impacting us, but it is really cool to look at here through the satellite imagery. Now, when we go ahead and just pause real quick, I'm going to go ahead and pull in the actual satellite and radar imagery for today, and it does show that there were some sprinkles and flurries showing up on the map. We just didn't see a lot of that reach the surface. Now, this right here is a blend of infrared and visible satellite imagery, but as you can imagine, as the sun sets, it's really hard to use the visible because, well, you can't see it. Now, when it comes to water vapor imagery, there's a huge plume of moisture right over the Pacific Northwest. Now, this is coming in from out over the Pacific Ocean, from the southern side of our center of high pressure. So this is what we would typically refer to as a dirty high. Most high pressures actually promote sunshine, subsidence, and stability. This one, there is a little bit of a couple waves of moisture thrown in there, and so that's why it's sometimes referred to as a dirty high. But when we go ahead and look out at that system that's way out over the Pacific Ocean, already some dry air is getting wrapped up into this low. Now, as the ridge of high pressure pushes back, it's really going to slow things down. I really think this system's going to fizzle out as it starts to approach the Pacific Northwest, which isn't going to be until Wednesday and Thursday. Then another system develops. That one could bring us more in the way of precipitation. Currently, moderate to a little bit high when it comes to relative humidity, where we have 50s and 60s. Remember, this is all in percentages, but when it comes to sisters, 86%. If we get into the 90 to 100% range, we could see some areas of fog. It's not going to be as widespread as a couple nights ago, but it is going to be possible tonight. In the last 24 hours, temperatures topped out in the 40s. A few spots struggled to get out of the 30s, but ultimately right now we're already on the cooling side of the day, and it is chilly through the Tri-County area. We have 30s, a few 40s, and at freezing in sisters. But overall, there's a net gain on temperature. We have seen the temperature change in the last 24 hours, running 1 degree cooler to 9 degrees warmer than it was just this time yesterday. Now, going forward, your temperature trend is going to really bottom out in the 20s tonight. A few 30s are going to be possible, and then tomorrow we're back into the 40s. But as we go forward, the weather pattern is going to be changing a little bit, just not until the second half of this week. And so it's going to be calmer with a modest warm-up Wednesday and Thursday. So Tuesday, a few sprinkles, breezy at times, still chilly, highs in the 40s with a few 30s and 50s. Highs don't change too much on Wednesday. They start to bump up a little bit, still dry. By Thursday, late in the day, the tail end of a warm front from that next system could be impacting us, but at this time, it doesn't look like much in the way of precipitation from the tail end of that warm front. On altogether, as we go forward through the next several days, we are going to be experiencing some changes to our weather pattern. You know what? I'm going to come back to that graphic. We're going to look at the forecast model in a few minutes. Let's do a couple more forecasts. Our school bus one shows a cold start with a chilly day across the high desert. Now, remember, some sprinkles could be possible tomorrow, but I think the most you'll see is in and out clouds, winds getting breezy at times, and temperatures struggling to get out of the 40s. And it stays that way through Thursday. By Friday, we see a bigger bump in temperatures, going up to the lower to mid 50s, and then Saturday temperatures dip back down as showers become more prevail across the high desert a little bit more. And here's what I'm talking about. Your forecast model shows that system way over the Pacific Ocean and Gulf of Alaska, but here through the next couple of days, mixture of sunshine and clouds, at best a sprinkle or two. Not much to worry about. Great time to prepare for winter, as this is the first week of meteorological winter. But by Thursday, the warm front of that next system is pushing through. A few sprinkles are possible, and then some showers could roll in during the overnight hours Thursday night going into Friday. So between now and Friday, we're mostly dry across the high desert. After that, we could start to see some additional showers for the Tri-County area. So when we look at the long-range forecast model, it shows mostly the same thing, just in and out clouds. By Thursday, a few sprinkles, maybe some showers, a little bit more precipitation Friday, but notice it's mostly green. There's no blue, not even in the Cascades. So for those of us who have been praying for mountain snow, it's not quite here yet. Between now and noon Friday, nada, and only a few sprinkles. And then going forward past that, maybe some snow in the highest elevations, but even where you're getting up to the 8 to 12 inch one, that's way up in the sisters. In the lower elevations, less than 4 inches. And this is a long range forecast model. This is one I typically wouldn't even show on air. I could imagine that might not even be as impressive by the time we get there. Gusts today have not been very much at all. In fact, we've had just a light breeze. Now through the day tomorrow, it could get breezy at times, but ultimately tonight we are looking at 20s with a few 30s. By the time we get to Tuesday, 40s and a few 50s, partly cloudy conditions, periods of sunshine, and showers really hold off until we get to Thursday night and Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday. Even at that, roller coaster temperatures are expected, and winds could get breezy at times. So a quick look at your headlines for this Monday, December the 1st. Sunshine and clouds mixture, mostly dry, becoming mild later in the work week, but a great week for winter prep. That is the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News while the latest headlines and your most reliable forecast. See you then.